Tell us about your first encounter with Lethan.
Well, like when you're hanging around school and with someone as big as Lethan, he's so popular and everyone really likes him and everyone always tries to emulate him. He was just this like larger than life figure, and I didn't even think I'd ever meet the guy, but I went out into the hall one day. I had to go to a different class, and I saw him at the end of the hallway. I couldn't believe it. I was so happy. I never thought I'd see him. I never thought I'd ever see the guy. I looked up to him so much, and he approached me. He approached me. I didn't think I deserved to be graced by his presence. And he said, "Hey, do you want to see my..." He asked me, "Do you want to see my tattoo?" And Lethan, he was so cool. He was so fantastic. I couldn't believe he had a tattoo. I couldn't believe it. I said, "Sure, there's no harm in seeing a tattoo. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever." And then he rolled up his sleeves, and oh my God!
Go on.
It was a barbed wire tattoo, and I couldn't believe it. My hero had just gotten better. I just had to be like him. I couldn't have him grace me with his presence and have it not affect me in some way. And well, I wanted to be like him. I wanted to have a little bit of him carried with me at all times, and I always try to be more like Lethan. And whenever that's when I went to the parlor and I got my first one, second one, my third one.
Do you mind showing the camera?
No, go ahead. It's the first, second, and third. And then there's fourth, fifth, and sixth. And then I went all the way. I got one right here, right where my hero was. But I lost my family. I defaulted on my mortgage payments. I sold everything I had to get these tattoos. My family disowned me. I'm thousands of dollars in debt just to be like Lethan. He destroyed my life.
Ginger black people exist.
So tell us about your encounter with Lethan.
So, in school, everyone knew who Lethan was. Everyone knew Lethan's name. But I personally didn't have any interaction with Lethan. I wasn't nearly cool enough to be around Lethan. So the first time I ever actually talked to Lethan was in Mr. Giggy's English class. We were partners doing a project on Jack the Ripper, and so I was so nervous and shaky meeting Lethan the first time, but he was really cool, and he wanted to meet up after school at his house to work on the project. So of course I agreed. Like who would turn down an offer to go to Lethan's house? So end of the day comes, I go to Lethan's house, and strangely enough, his parents weren't home. And it occurred to me at the time that I'd never heard Lethan mention his parents at all. No one ever talked about Lethan's parents, and that struck me as a little odd. But he didn't say anything, so I just let it slide, and we started getting to work on the project. So we're working on the project, and that's when I hear the most horrendous sound I've ever heard in my life. I can't even describe it properly. It was hundreds of turkeys gobbling all together, terrified gobbles. And all at once, Lethan drops everything he's doing. He bolts up, and I can see this fire in his eyes. His face is pale. He's shaking. He looks livid. And, I'm scared instantly. I've never seen Lethan that mad. And Lethan runs outside. He drags me along. And I see the barn door is flown open. And hundreds of turkeys are streaming out of the door, out into the field, absolutely terrified. So Lethan's screaming. He's frothing at the mouth. He starts screaming at me, "Help me get the turkeys! Help me get the turkeys back in the cages!" So, I do as I'm told. You can't disobey a direct order from Lethan. So I help him all day. Lethan and I are wrangling up those turkeys and hauling them back into the barn. Putting them in these tiny, rusty cages. Stuffing them in. And at the end of the day, we finally get all the turkeys back in. And Lethan says, "Sorry we didn't get to work on the project too much. How about you stop by tomorrow?" So as I'm walking home, all I'm thinking about is what's going to happen when I go to Lethan's house tomorrow. The fear, the dread inside.
If you had the chance to speak to Lethan about all of this, what would you say to him?
You know what I'd say to him? I'd go right up to him and say, "You know what? You're pathetic. Preying on weak-minded people like that. You don't want us to make people do all this. You know what I did? Default on mortgage loan payments, just trying to pay for this, just to look like my most beloved person that I ever seen in the entirety of high school. I looked up to that boy. You know what? He destroyed my life because I looked up to him. Because I didn't see anything in myself. I didn't see anything in myself. I projected onto him. And he didn't correct me. He didn't do the right thing. He let me project onto him. He let me destroy my entire life. You know what I would show him? I would show him all my child support payments I had to pay ever since my wife left me because I invested on all of this bullshit. That's what I would show him. I'd show him the divorce papers. I'd show him the alimony. I'd show him the child support payments for the children that I'm not allowed to see anymore. That's what I'd show Lethan. That's what I would tell Lethan. That's what I would do.
Thank you.
Yo, I'm sorry, guys. I'm from New York, guys. Just bear with me.
If you could talk to Lethan today, what would you say to him? So